I've been off for 6 months, you know, there's people been screwing me left, right and centre for the last 6 months. My mind hasn't been in the right place, but I carried on training.
The return of Dillian Whyte, so happy to be back. But big shot. Smash was really wobbled in the middle of the ring. Great fight.
Like I say, I'm the cat man, whoever won it can get it. Number 1, baby! Let's go!
Oh! That's good night!
That shot's going to put a lot of people away, trust me. It's 4th round, I will land it at some point.
Blue-white lion! Povetkin with a right hand and a left hand! Devastating damage and impact and a true threat. It's always going to get rough on it. They're eating liver. This is a war. He's lost control. The tail's in. He won't make it.
Welcome to Jabs on Dazn, the final Fight Camp edition of Jabs, and we have saved the best for last. Gareth A. Davies, journalist, broadcast from the London Daily Telegraph. He is coming to us from inside the bubble in the UK. Gareth, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks, Mannix. Yeah, I'm here inside the Matchroom Fight Camp 4 bubble. Had to do the isolation thing. I'm in cell block 5 at the moment. I was allowed out, of course, in the end, tested negative, but it's amazing to be at an event. And what I can remember, we've been around a long time in this sport. I cannot remember a boxing pay-per-view event behind closed doors, Chris.
No, we are just a couple of bubble boys, though.
Listen, you can call yourself a bubble boy. I got a cricket bat in the background. We've been playing cricket all week. We've even been playing in the rain, and we don't normally do that, And I've taught these boxers, you don't play cricket with no shirt off. You wear a shirt when you play cricket, a white shirt. It's a shame you're not here, because I'd have knocked you out of the park as well.
All right, we start with the main event. Dillian Whyte taking on Alexander Povetkin in one of the best matchups in any weight class that we've seen in 2020. Whyte is looking for his 12th straight win since being knocked out by Anthony Joshua back in 2015, and he will look for it against Povetkin, a former title holder who has only lost to the best. Gareth, despite a 27-1 record, is Dillian Whyte somehow underrated?
I don't think he is anymore. He certainly isn't here in the UK. I mean, he's turned up this week in his own Winnebago, his own hospitality caravette, parked in the grounds of the Bubble Hotel here. Look, he has been on a brilliant run since losing to Anthony Joshua 5 years ago. You look at the people he's beaten. Derek Chisora twice. You can call him a fringe contender, but he's got more dangerous in his 30s, says Derek. Oscar Rivas, Joseph Parker, brilliant knockout of Lucas Brown. But he's also shown more generalship in the ring with each performance. He started off as a raw heavyweight, Chris, but you underestimate Dillian Whyte at your peril because he is a genuine warrior. When the chips are down, as we saw against Rivas particularly, and against Parker, he knows how to deliver. The guy is desperate to win, desperate to be a world champion.
It's funny. I think in the U.S., he is somewhat underrated because I think there are a lot of people that lump Dillian Whyte into the kind of Dominic Breazeale, Andy Ruiz, mid-fringe contender type of status, when to your point, I don't think that could be further from the truth. I mean, think about it. In his second fight after losing to Anthony Joshua, he went out and fought Dave Allen, who's a solid fighter and not somebody that a lot of fighters coming off a loss like that would take on right away. Go down the list as you just did. He fought some top-level guys. I think people in the U.S. that might have seen Dillian Whyte recently might look at the Dillian they saw against Marius Vach, who was not in great shape and did not have his best performance. So I think in the minds of some Americans, he's put into a category that he doesn't belong in. I think you can easily make the case that Dillian Whyte is the third best heavyweight in the world after Fury and Joshua. He just hasn't been given the kind of opportunities on the big stage, especially in the U.S., that other fighters have. So, 11 wins in a row after the Joshua loss, going for number 12. I just don't think there's a recognition of that here stateside for what Dillian Whyte's done.
Well, listen, we always say for European fighters, they need to conquer America as well. That's why he's chasing that big fight. I'm telling you, Dillian Whyte against Deontay Wilder would be a calamitous, almighty clash. Those two guys are both talkers. They like to get into each other before the fight. That will be an amazing contest, believe me. The thing is, you're right. He needs a projection to America. And over the last 2 years, he's become a cult hero in the UK. He's selling out 20,000 at the O2 Arena just down the road here from me in central London, in East London, in Docklands. The key with Dillian Whyte is that he needs the big fight. But fans have grown for him because he's waited. It's literally when he fights tonight or Saturday night against Alexander Povetkin, he will have waited 1,000 days to challenge for the WBC title. So in a weird way, you know how in boxing, some event, some incident sometimes turn to make a cult hero. And Whyte over here is a cult hero for that reason. His jabs got better as well. He's one of the most dangerous left hookers in the business. And I'm going to stick my neck out here and say, he may not beat Anthony Joshua. He may not beat Deontay Wilder, but he may be the guy who eventually unsettles Tyson Fury. I just have a feeling about it.
Moving on to Whyte's opponent, Alexander Povetkin. He has amassed a 35-2-1 record in his long boxing career. However, he has suffered both a loss and a draw in his last 3 fights, and he is nearly 41 years old. So, Gareth, I'll ask you, how significant a threat is Alexander Povetkin in this fight?
Very dangerous. Huge amateur pedigree, one of the most decorated amateurs ever to come out of Russia. World champion, remember, Olympic super heavyweight champion. You don't get there by not having brilliant skills. He sets traps. He's a dangerous fighter. Yes, this is his last opportunity for me, Chris. His last big opportunity. He's come here. He's got his team. They're all dressed, looking like bank robbers. I don't know if you've seen the outfits, but they look amazing. He's here. He's in the hotel. He's completely chilled out, looking forward to Saturday night. He knows as well that he has vastly more experience than Dillian Whyte. He's a dangerous hooker. He's got a great jab. He sets traps. For me, he's going to be very dangerous early in the fight. First 4, 5, 6 rounds. After that, for me, the younger, I think fitter, more ambitious man will take over. But don't sleep on Povetkin. He could do the job early in this fight. We really don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. You underestimate Alexander Povetkin at your own risk. I mean, I was down on Povetkin, Gareth, after he lost to Vladimir Klitschko. I thought that was a pretty embarrassing performance. He just kept getting knocked down over and over again and really wasn't competitive in that fight. But you fast forward to the Anthony Joshua fight when Povetkin's in his late 30s, and I thought he acquitted himself pretty well in that fight, especially, as you point out, whether Joshua admits it or not, he got buckled in that first round because those quick hands of Povetkin, they can get at you. So you've got to be very careful because he doesn't load up on his punches like some fighters do. He's very quick in getting them inside, but they're sharp and they're impactful. So if Dillian Whyte is in the kind of shape we saw him in against Mariusz Vakin, look, I'm not counting on that because Whyte took that fight on short notice. But if he is not 100% prepared, not only could he lose to Povetkin, but Povetkin, even at this stage of his career, still has the power to knock him out.
Absolutely. Listen, I think somebody is getting knocked out in this fight, and I cannot wait to be one of just 4 media guys ringside and 60 people in Matchroom Square Garden watching this event as 2. You know what it's like when you've got a crowd there, and how exciting it is when 18 stone men are throwing giant leather at each other. I'm going to hear it with no crowd noise, the thwacks, the thuds, the noise, the breathing, the shouting between the 2 men, the corners. It's going to be off the charts. And I really do think one of these 2 is getting knocked out. And I reckon it'll be Povetkin late.
Why do you think that Dillian Whyte, knowing that he at least theoretically has a bigger fight coming for him at some point in early 2021, why do you think he would take a fight this dangerous in an environment that he can't make as much money as he's used to making?
Because he's not well when he doesn't fight. He's been in Portugal in training camp. He looks, I've got to say, he looks magnificent. Huge, powerful legs on him. His upper body looks amazing. He's got a smile on his face. He's not expending that kind of emotional, angry energy that he used to do in fight weeks. In fact, one of the great things about these fight camps has been the camaraderie within the bubble between all the boxers and trainers, it's been extraordinary. I was talking to Eddie Hearn about it earlier. It's been one of the salutary things about this entire bubble, that people are realizing we're living in a new normalcy and we've got to behave in a different way. That's been phenomenal. But for me, I think Dillian Whyte, he's a genuine warrior. It wouldn't surprise me to see him fight again before AJ or even Tyson Fury fight again, because he's got to get out there. He's hungry. I've always known him to be like this, and I think he's a credit to the sport and a credit to the fact that he says the big names have got to realize, take a pay cut, get out there and fight, because we could be in this situation for another 18 months, Chris.
And finally, Katie Taylor will face off against Delfine Persoon in a rematch of their majority decision win for Taylor last summer. When asked about her performance in the first fight earlier this week, Taylor said, "I felt like the right winner won, but because it was so great and so close, that's why we're having the rematch." Gareth, does Katie Taylor have to do anything differently to win this rematch?
I'm very excited about this fight. This could be the crowd stealer. I mean, there isn't a crowd, but it's still going to be the crowd stealer on TV. For me, their fight at Madison Square Garden last June was extraordinary. It was the fight of the night, apart from the seismic shock of Anthony Joshua being knocked down all those times by Andy Ruiz. Katie Taylor in that fight never hurt Delfine Persoon. She never fully got her respect, so that Persoon was always over her like a bad rash. She never stopped coming. And I think what Katie Taylor's got to do this time, and I've spoken to her at length about this week, is to get her boxing set early in the rounds. They're 2-minute rounds, remember. Dominate round by round, box differently, use her footwork in a more skillful way, and actually be the matador to the bull this time, instead of meeting the bull head on. Delfine Persoon is a physical specimen. This policewoman from Belgium that trains guys in armed defense. She has not got to fall into the trap this time, Taylor, of doing that, thinking she needs to go toe-to-toe. Box, box, box. That's what she has to do differently. I don't know about you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think avoiding a war is the best option for Katie Taylor. I mean, I agree. I mean, we've become conditioned almost to expect Katie Taylor opponents to not be able to hang with her. At least the fights I've been to here in the U.S., whether it's Jessica McCaskill or Cindy Serrano. I mean, Katie Taylor wins lopsided decisions, looks dominant. And, Delfine Persoon was the first opponent to just go in there and take the fight straight to Katie Taylor and continue that onslaught over the course of the entire fight. I think for Katie Taylor, watching back that last fight, she's got to start looking at time Delfine Persoon. I mean, Persoon reminds me a little bit of a Manny Pacquiao type. Like, she just comes in with these 6-7 punch flurries. And when I saw Katie have success with her most impactful punches, it was when she timed some of those flurries and just whacked Persoon with something big. So I know there's probably going to be a natural inclination in Katie Taylor to brawl. I mean, we love when we see her back up against the ropes and wave the opponent in with one glove. It's entertainment. But to win a fight like this and to win over the judges, I think you've got to land the cleaner punch. So to do that, you avoid those flurries and just whack away when she comes lunging in at you. That, to me, has got to be strategy number one for Katie Taylor.
Absolutely, but footwork is key here as well, Chris. As you know, you've been around this game long enough, like me, and footwork in these rematches is often the key. How you dominate the in and out space there. I think she's got the ability to make Delfine Persoon look clumsy and look just like a brawler. That's really what she's got to do. And let's be honest, this is for the undisputed women's world lightweight title. Jessica McCaskill, as you just mentioned, has just upset Cecilia Brækhus and taken the welterweight crowns. Katie's already got a victory 3 years ago here in the York Hall in East London against Jessica McCaskill. She needs to beat Persoon and call out the entire holder of all the welterweight belts. It's a fight she's got to take. Eddie Hearn must be grinning from ear to ear, thinking that he can line her up against a girl she's already beaten. This is a key fight for Katie Taylor because it enables her to go on and potentially put all the doubters to bed, all the people saying you lost by a round or two the last time out, and then go on and fight a girl she's already beaten for potentially all the welterweight titles as well.
Is that fight, Gareth, still interest you? Because Katie did win, fairly convincingly against Jessica McCaskill the first time around. I think a lot of people, including Eddie Hearn, were disappointed that Cecilia Braekhus lost because Eddie invested a lot of time, or at least some time, and money in Cecilia there. I mean, if there can be something to get an Amanda Serrano fight put back into play, I think I'd prefer that. I spoke to Claressa Shields this week. She's willing to come down to 147 pounds to fight Katie Taylor. That might be too big an opponent for Katie, but sign me up for Katie Taylor versus Claressa Shields if they can make that fight at 147 pounds.
Listen, I know we're living in a new universe at the moment, but there is no way on earth is there that Claressa Shields actually gets down to 147 pounds to fight. I mean, if she did, I want to see her against Canelo. Never mind Katie Taylor. That's incredible if she can. Look, for me, yes, of course, Amanda Serrano is a very enticing fight. Massive name, more historicity there involved, with the 6 or 7 world title divisions belts that she's won. So the key, I think, is whether Katie Taylor, who never commits to a fight after the fight, she's always focused on that fight. She won't go beyond in terms of her discussions. It depends whether Eddie Hearn thinks that's viable behind closed doors. We were all hoping for Cecilia Braekhus to win because I think she has been an extraordinary advocate for the sport. But look what happens with age. Age takes it out of your body. And that may be the sign for the main event as well. Povetkin approaching 41, as you said earlier. This is the time for the younger fighters to come through. So for me, Taylor wins. And I think the younger Dillian Whyte gets it done tonight on Fight Camp 4.
Hey, I can't speak for boxers, Gareth, but age doesn't take anything out of our bodies.
Hey, speak for yourself, buddy.